What's going on, everybody, and welcome back. So in this one we are working on the cluster, which I showed you guys in the last video. If you didn't see the last video, go check it out and check out some of my other videos too. Hopefully I get some views on this video. We're trying to grow the channel here, guys, and if you could, I don't ask very often, but if you could share the video with people that might enjoy it, and just sort of spread it around a little bit. I know you guys are really good in the comments. I have some of you guys that comment on every video, and you guys are awesome. Like CB Dreamer and Jay Simmons, he comments a lot, and I'm gonna forget people, but there's definitely a lot of people that comment, and I definitely appreciate it. You guys are awesome, so I appreciate it. But anyway, going back to the cluster, this thing, I got some white gauges at the junkyard, which are cool. They don't light up like they're supposed to, but that's fine. I'm just gonna put them in like I did with this one. So just a nice white gauge. I put them right over top, so I don't have to worry about breaking anything. And they seem like they're gonna work as long as the light shines through on them. And maybe it won't, and that's kind of something that I thought about. But they're white, so you should be able to see them. I don't know. The backlights are gonna be like gone in a way, but maybe it'll still shine through. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I know that it would have been cool if these lit up, definitely, because see, like, they had a cool little thing going on here, but it is what it is. So we'll just try them out. I want to go key it up out there, and we'll see what it looks like. If it's totally terrible, then I guess I won't be able to use it. I'll try it in the dark, though. But I found out something pretty disturbing, guys. So my airbag light, the SRS is supposed to bulb test. This guy right here, if you look, it's the second one here. The SRS light, it's red. It's supposed to come on when they key the vehicle up and then go off. And so I figured, why does it not do that? It never has since I own the car. And I pulled out the check engine light bulb, and that looked good. And then I pulled out the SRS light, and this is what I found, guys. So there was no bulb in there. So at some point, somebody has tampered with the airbag system on this vehicle. So that's kind of scary. I've owned this vehicle for like 7 years now, thinking that the airbags were going to go off, and they very well might not go off if I get into a collision with this thing, which I hope that never happens, but pretty terrifying to know that the airbags don't work. So, or they might not work. So I want to take this engine light bulb here, and we're going to put him into the airbag section, and we'll swap in this guy for now, because I really don't check on check engine lights on this. This thing's converted to OBD1, so if there's a check light, it'll just flash at you. I more go based on drivability. I don't need to check the engine really in any scenario, other than, check the rod hanging out of the side of the block if I blow it up. That's when I'll check the engine. So I'm not really worried about it. It's still gonna have, which it's pretty cool that there's actually indicators on here like that tell you what it is. So this is oil. It's probably low oil pressure, and this is charge. So this is your battery light, and you can see right here low oil pressure and battery light. So everything's pretty laid out. So I do want to show you. I have some plans here, because obviously we swapped this one, so now the airbag light will bulb test, and it's probably going to stay on right now because the bag pad's not connected. But once I connect the bag pad, it may also stay illuminated because there's a fault. And so I like to, while I have everything all apart, I'm going to scan it, and I'm going to see what codes are stored in it. I know I'm going to have a fault for a missing driver's airbag, deploy, or I'm sorry, an inflator module. It's gonna check on the status of the resistance of the loop of and it'll tell you that it's disconnected. So I know I'll have that fault, but if I have an additional fault, then I know that there's a problem with the system, and I'll have to try to fix that, because I'd like to have the airbags work in this car. It's pretty sad that this person disabled that and removed that bulb. So if you think about it, it's definitely very illegal to do that and then sell a vehicle in that way with the airbag system disabled, or not necessarily disabled, but you're lying. It's worse, in my opinion. It's worse than covering up a check engine light. I would have bought this car with a check engine light, but knowing that I had an airbag fault would have been on my first priority to fix. So I guess it's kind of my fault for not fixing the airbag light out prior, because I always just assumed that the bulb was out, and that's why I didn't do the bulb test. So I figured out, no big deal. But to see the bulb missing means somebody knew there was a problem, didn't want somebody to find out, so they removed the bulb. So I don't know how this is done. It could have been brought in for a recall at the dealership, and they could have pulled the bulb out there, and then maybe that was their way of cheating this airbag recall. I mean, who knows? It could have been the previous owner decided that he wanted to, you know, sell it to me and not have me see the airbag light, and he disabled it or had someone disable it. It could have been in a collision and it was fixed haphazardly. They didn't replace the SDM, or, you know, maybe one of the airbags was like, the bag pad on the driver's side looks kind of weird. It's got some lines. Who knows if it was like fake leather put back together and it's actually deployed in there and they just stuffed it back in, and there's no charge in there. I have no idea. It's hard to know. So I'll just have to see what kind of codes I have in there, and then we'll go from there. But that'll be probably for a different video. I'm looking at fixing the cluster right now. So the other thing I've really been wanting to do with this is to fix, I have this guy right here which illuminates. You can see, oh, if I turn this around, you can see we have our little car image here, and down low it says brake lamp right here. And you can probably see that in the light now. It says brake lamp, and that illuminates every time I step on the brake because I have LED brake lights. So it thinks that there's no connection there, so it throws this light on. So I'm going to disable that. I'm going to try to desolder this one LED on the bottom. So we'll get rid of him, and that way I won't have that darn brake light on all the time. It bugs me. And so I'll fix that, and I'm going to see if the airbag light's on, do the white gauges. So I got a lot of things I'm doing in the cluster, and I'll just let you guys know how everything goes. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. It's pretty cool. I think it's going to be pretty sweet to see how it looks when we're all done. I wish these would light up, because that would be sick, but I'm just not that lucky. Unfortunately, they don't work, and I don't know how to make them work. Something's busted with this unit, and there's this whole blue-green thing. If anybody has these, let me know. These look pretty cool. And maybe I could buy another controller for them, but I already cut this one up because I don't really care for it. I just want to have the gauges, you know, the color. So I'm excited. I think it'll look cool. Once this is on here like this, should look pretty sweet in there. So yeah, we'll see what we can do with these gauges, and I'll let you guys know. So that was pretty much all for nothing, the whole soldering situation. Got out my whole little solder kit for no reason. Basically, they unplug. They're just like, it's got two little posts, and they just unplug. It's really simple. It looks just like the things that it's not optioned for. Like up here, like this DRL one. And then there's also this one over here, the ABS one, which it doesn't have ABS, so that's why there's nothing on that one. But yeah, I just undid it. Like, there's nothing there. So we should be good now. We're not going to have a brake light for our LED brake lights. So if that is something that interests you guys, then go for it. I initially cut the thing like an idiot. I like took a pair of pliers to it. So yeah, I cut it, and I was like, okay. And then I was like prying on it. I was trying to desolder it, and it ended up just popping off. So cool. So now we're in business. Also, another reason to hoard parts. While I was at the junkyard, I had taken this off of the Accord that I took the gauges from, and it had a couple of spare bulbs in there. So this bulb is the exact same bulb that I needed for my, for my SRS light. So now I have an airbag light in there, and I have my check engine light in there. So we have both bulbs in there, so that's sweet. Got that replaced. So now we should see the airbag light on when we key it up. So I'm gonna put the cluster pretty much back together, and I'll show you guys how that goes. Essentially, these gauges go in here and they're sandwiched. The screws go through, so when you put in this fuel gauge here, the screws go through the backside and they screw into the gauge, and they actually make contact with the traces on the board. So if you look at the backside of this board where the fuel thing is, you see those 3 big holes right here? Those are where the screws go, and the screws contact the traces with some washers, and that actually runs the power into the gauge. So it's pretty sweet how Honda did it. Pretty smart on their part, I guess. It's kind of a pain to take it apart, but it's makes sense. You don't have to have any wires or anything like that to unplug once you get it apart. So pretty cool idea. And they're not soldered in, so you could just totally unbolt them and change them if you ever have a problem. So it's good to know if you ever have a gauge that's bad, you just got to swap the gauge and you can get it off of these cords. So pretty cool. So I'm excited to have no light here, working airbag light, white gauges. There's a lot of upgrades going on here, so pretty cool. Only downside that I've seen is that these gauges, the backlights are probably not going to work because they're not see-through. Like the OE faces are like, they have like slits in them on all the notches. This isn't going to have that, but the gauge is white and there is lighting above here. There's bulbs up here. So worst case, I could upgrade these bulbs in this top section. If they're not enough, I could upgrade those 2 bulbs, which would beef up how bright it is in there. So maybe I'll look into doing something, but these bulbs always tend to flicker when you put LEDs, so I may try to avoid that. But yeah, we'll throw maybe a couple of brighter bulbs in here if I can do it, if the gauges are kind of dim, but otherwise we'll just rock it because I think I'll be able to see it with it being white. So pretty cool. White gauge setup here. I know they sell these kits on eBay, so yours will probably be cooler if you buy it because it'll actually light up. Mine won't. They're kind of lame. But I got it well, it wasn't free. I bought it at the junkyard, but whatever. I don't know. We're going to use them, okay? That's it. So, guys, I set it up in the car. I don't know if I showed you or not. I don't think I took the camera out there. But basically, everything lit up great. All the gauges seem to work. This went back down to 1/4 of a tank, which is where it should be, so it's not busted. And these needles didn't do anything because I didn't start it. It's not ready. And the temp gauge did a little something, but it's still really cold, so it didn't move. And all my lights bulb tested nicely like they should. And when I tapped on the brake, our brake light didn't illuminate, and our SRS light stayed on. I mean, I know I have the airbag unplugged. Kept saying the bag pad in the other clips, but I have the airbag unplugged. And so, that's that. We're going to have a light, and we're going to scan it. I forgot to bring home the scanner again, but we are going to try to buff this cluster here. I think that we can clean up some of these scratches. I don't know if you guys can see them. Yeah, you can see them. It looks terrible. So I'm going to try to clean this off, maybe use some alcohol, get it all detailed up. And then I looked online and somebody said that they used mag and aluminum polish or some kind of mother's polish. So we're going to try this mother's with this little foam wheel on the drill here. Brand new one I just had. So I'm just excited I found a new one. Nice and soft. So we should just go at it with that and see if it cleans up some of the scratches. And then we'll do the same thing with some cleaner wax. And I really saw him have a good result on this. So even though it's broken, I'm still going to try to make it look nice. So I'm going to go at it and I'll show you guys my results in restoring an old cluster. But here's the good before pictures. So you can see just how hazy the bottom is. It looks pretty bad. So if I can make that look nice and shiny again, that'd be pretty sweet. But that's what you're looking at all the time, I wish it was that clear. So let's see. Hopefully we don't destroy it. It's looking pretty good, honestly. Alright, so got a nice microfiber here. I'll wipe this off. Honestly, it looks pretty good, guys. It looks pretty good. It didn't, I wouldn't say it like removed them because some of the scratches are deep, but it definitely repolished some of those areas that were hazy. So, I don't know.
I'm going to have to agree with you.
It made a dramatic improvement. It's not 100% perfect, but I don't think that's going to happen at this point. You know, it's an old cluster. So, pretty good is all I'm looking for.
I can't wait for this stage 2.
I might do the inside too, but by hand, I'm thinking.
You have one more stage to do, right?
Yeah, the cleaner wax on the outside.
Do you have that, or you want me to get it?
I think I have some. Usually we have some lying around. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Yeah, I don't know if you saw it before. That haze is gone. So I think in the car, you're barely, I mean, you could still see the scratches are still there. But yeah, it's not nearly as bad as it was. In the light you can see the scratches, but I'm pretty happy with that.
Shall I look from the finger mix?
Sure. So I think it's pretty easy to tell, guys, how much better it looks. You know, I mean, I showed you guys before, there was just not nearly as much gloss, and now when you see the lights in it, you're getting, you know, reflections coming back. We didn't really have any of that before, so yeah, all we used was Mother's Mag and aluminum polish, and then some 3M cleaner wax that's probably 20 years old, and it still worked great. So look at that. That's awesome. That's pretty sweet. I did not know that was doable, but I think I'll be polishing most of my clusters now because that worked really well. So I think we're ready to put this thing back together and slap it back in the car, and then, you know, make sure everything works and see what it looks like. I think it's gonna look really cool. I'm excited. So I'm just gonna do the final assembly on this thing, and we're ready to test fit it back in place. So that's what it looks like in the car, guys. Got to put back in. I did annihilate the bracket over here. I don't know if it was me or if it was somebody else, because I know somebody else obviously has taken this apart to fudge my cluster. And I think they broke this thing too. So this cable I've been messing with for a while. I've been putting WD-40 in it. I can't do it with one hand, it's still difficult, but I've been putting WD-40 in it and pushing it back and forth and trying to free it up. And I think I have a plan to attach it back to the HVAC knob. So if your stuff's broken in this way, you know, you might want to pay attention to that. But a lot of this HVAC ductwork is pretty tired. This piece, it's probably screwed in up top, but it comes out. At some point I'll have the whole dash out of here and I'll fix this section. But right now the cluster's pretty well held in. It's got a little bit of movement to it, but I don't think it'll be too bad. Hopefully it doesn't rattle, and I'll take the shock sensor out and put it in somewhere else for now. But otherwise, yeah, I'm pretty excited with how everything has come out. I think it's looking really nice. So I just got to reassemble, and still got to scan it, figure out what the airbag light's for, but I'll save that for another video along with this cable here. So I'm going to try to fix that in the next video, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video on the white gauge cluster. It looks pretty sweet, guys. I'm excited. When it keys up, it looks good too. So just going to you know, carry on with the build here and figure out what the next step is. Probably just start to reassemble and work on some other projects for today though. So thank you guys for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed. I can't wait to rock around with these new gauges, and wait till you guys see what else I just bought. Made a decent sized purchase. So maybe you guys will be able to figure out what it is. It is an interior mod. You probably can't see anything. It is an interior mod, and it's something I've been talking about. So hopefully it comes out nice, and hopefully everybody likes it. I'm really excited. I think I got the right color, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, and like the video. And peace. See you in the next one.